Welcome, everyone. It is June, not July, June 14th at time of recording. I'm here with Brian. Brian, how are we doing?
I'm alright. I'm feeling under the weather, but other than that, doing okay. Can't complain too much.
Under the weather? That's not good.
Yeah, I know. It's a funny thing that I think I'm in the early stages of a sinus infection or something. And, it's just been like the last 6 weeks, especially in Michigan, the air quality has just been so poor. It's been up and down. At poor sweet quality. Just I've done nasal drains, I think, like every day for the past like 3 or 4 weeks. It feels like I'm always just congested. So finally got like hit with something kind of serious and pretty congested in my chest, but just gonna give it another day or two before I start really worrying and maybe go to like urgent care doctor or something. But not too worried about it. What's new with you?
Yeah, I didn't realize the air quality around has been worse. I mean, I did wake up with a sore throat that was a little bit more sore than, like kind of worryingly sore. So that would make sense. Or maybe I just slept with my mouth open last night like an idiot. I don't know why my unconscious body is so dumb. My nostrils are open. I checked. But
Yeah,
I mean, not feeling. I feel fine otherwise. So that's why I was thinking maybe I was just snoring like sometimes, or I had my acid reflux under control for quite a long time, but the last few days have been a little bit worse. So maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah, when I was having bouts of sleep apnea, just because I was breathing that hard or exhaling that hard, whatever it is, I know it did tend to cause pretty bad indigestion and acid reflux. So yeah, would keep an eye on that. But
Yeah, good thing I rescheduled my at-home sleep study.
yeah,
But no, I didn't. I need to do that. Just add that another thing to the list.
yeah, I know. Tell me about it, man. It's like I've been eating well. I've been mostly not sleeping well, but sleeping better than when I was heavier. I was down almost 30 pounds. I think I'm down like a little over 29 pounds. I just weighed myself this morning. So I start there, but I feeling, I've just like the last few days, I've just been feeling like more sore for like no reason whatsoever. So I think I'm going to start doing like upping like my actual exercise, because I'm still doing like PT and like PT's kind of exercise. There's simple stuff in like a chair against a wall, things kind of just build some minor strength. But I literally bent over to pick up my son's truck and I threw my shoulder. I didn't throw it out, but like I pinched a nerve in my shoulder. So it's like I just have so much atrophy in my body that I need to really just work out and strengthen my muscles. I felt like that was like the first time like since turning 37 years ago that I really felt old, where I just like almost like threw my back out picking up a truck.
Yeah. Well, I'm 31, so it's good to know I have at least 6 years left before
Yeah, right.
everything's downhill. But yeah, I mean, it's good. Like starting small is definitely good and trying to build that foundation. But yeah, I think it is tough to kind of try to realize like when that next step is, like when you can start to take on more. But for me, it's like not only the exercise, but like the stretching aspect of it.
Yep.
How we
Big part.
have technique and, posture and all those things that really take a toll over time. There's a great big Haley Williams fan, lead singer of Paramore. But there's a clip with her, I think on it's either Conan or Colbert, but she's talking about like she's showing an X-ray of her neck, and she's like headbanging over the ears, and all the old guns are like, "Oh, you guys got to watch out! You're gonna mess up your neck," and it's like literally like at a 90-degree angle.
Oh, geez, yeah.
And I can kind of feel like that, that like hump. I used to be able to feel like a hump between my shoulder blades. It's not as pronounced anymore because I've been, working a lot at it. But
Right.
yeah, I wonder if some of that stretching could be good, or some type of yoga. I mean, when I got sick with COVID and was kind of bedbound for 6 months, started doing some yoga, and also like nerve flossing, if you've ever heard of that. But they're like specific stretches. Like one is arms straight across, and then you like put your palm up, and then you like head back and lean like your ear to your opposite shoulder.
Oh, okay.
And then you could either do it like palm down or palm up. But yeah, that works. I do that all the time now. Even doing it right now, it feels pretty good. So, not to brag, I just woke up from a nap, so that's why I was late. Sorry about that.
It's all good. One that I do, because I got, we'll share war stories here. If you put your, I think I told you this one, or at least I'm having deja vu about telling somebody about this recently, where you put your, like on the door jamb or door frame, you like, especially if you have tight shoulders, if you, yeah, almost like you're about to go double high five somebody, yeah. Or one side.
The field goal's good.
Yeah.
But your arms are at 90 degrees, and like lean your chest through, but your like forearms are flat against the molding of the door.
Yeah, yep. That's a good one for weak shoulders. Because just what happens with me working from an office for the last 6-7 years now, almost 7 years. It's like my shoulders have, and really just overall my posture have just gone more and more forward. I mean, not that I had great posture before that, but it's just like, I'm starting to develop a neck hump. I've had tech neck. Like everything is just kind of weak on my chest. So, losing weight and working out, not necessarily kind of a non-bo sometimes, but you can find your ways around it. But so I'm just gonna have to make adjustments and just kind of ramp up that. But because I got I've just had such atrophy for the last 7 years. It's like I gotta do something. I can't just keep doing these PT exercises until think it's gonna do. I gotta actually work out and retrain these muscles and strengthen them, and just be better. So yeah.
Well, I think that's like where people get it wrong with like going to the chiropractor. Because I mean, if you can go to the chiropractor once a week and you still have terrible posture, then it could be worth it. But the idea is to like do a reset where resets you, and then you work on keeping it where it's supposed to be. Because you fall back in with the bad posture and slumped shoulders and everything, then you're just going to go back to the way that it was. And me, I have like bad outside of my hips are pretty bad. So typically, like if I put my feet up, sitting on the couch or something, like it, legs will fall asleep, or I really just like my hips get pretty tight. So that's one that I've been trying to work on. But yeah, work is tough. Just trying to keep the posture, because I'm either like, over top here, or I'm doing like the, no life World of Warcraft person where I'm like leaned back 45 degrees and I've got like fairly touching my keyboard, which that one feels like it's not that bad for you, but it's got to be, pretty bad. I don't know.
I mean, I guess it would be slouching. I don't know. Where not that one kind of like the leaning back feels better on me, but I don't know. I am not a chiropractor or a medical doctor, so I could not tell you. But yeah. But anyway, overall, I'm doing okay. Hope you're doing okay as well. Now that you wanted to kind of talk about a couple of different things you've been going over with your therapy session too, and I got a couple things too. So
Yeah. Um, well, therapy, it's kind of like ebbs and flows, Not every week is going to be bad. Sometimes I go in like I don't typically go in with an agenda, but it, is there for support. So similarly to exercise or going to the chiropractor or getting a massage or whatnot, it's the thought of like, it's there for some of the overflow. So yeah, the last couple of weeks I've had more productive conversations, I would think, with my therapist, and really more around like the feel for me with like motivation and what I assign value to. So, there's trivial things, laundry, dishes, which is clutter around the house, which I had said like doesn't really bother me. I don't really have like a lot of motivation to keep up with. If I sit here and drink something at my desk or eat something at my desk, like I'm not too motivated to clean it up right away.
yeah, tell me about it.
So there's a lot of times like waiting on that motivation to actually hit me to, the sink's full of dishes. All right, I'll take care of it now. Or, I typically wait until the end of the day, typically Monday nights, because I work from home Monday. So who cares about laundry? And that, once I get it into the dryer, it's like, oh, well, I can't stay up and let it dry and fold it and put it away. So it's already, around 9 o'clock. So it'll just kind of sit down there for a while. And it has been sitting down there for a while. I haven't brought clothes up in I don't know how many weeks. And yeah, just trying to, like how we talk about trying to attack things at a different angle. Because the other part of it is like, just time management. Like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I've just gone time blind in a lot of ways. In the weekends for me, like trying to get that time back, trying to get that relaxation time back outside of work. What I've been doing and working on has been pretty difficult. Like just being time blind. Like there are maybe one thing I have planned for that weekend, like something fun, and then the rest of the time is just kind of unscheduled, like lounge time.
Yeah.
So my thought is that I was going to start tracking how much time things take me, and hopefully getting better about scheduling, my day or my week, and what things that I want to do. So this morning I went grocery shopping. We had to install a new dishwasher, so that's been a whole week worth of exploration. I cross-threaded the water inlet valve. I had to order a new one. I ordered the wrong one. I had to order another one, and lo and behold, the dishwasher works now. It still needs to be mounted, and for whatever reason, it's like off to the side. You can't. There's no two cabinets that you can screw it against.
Gotcha.
And yeah, so yeah, it's kind of been a pain. But I getting it together and ran like the first cycle for it yesterday. So I got up this morning and took the dishes out, cleaned up the dog poop in the backyard yesterday. I swept, I vacuumed, was in the process of getting my laundry started. So I didn't wait until the last second. And, I folded up all the laundry that's down in the basement. I just haven't brought it up yet. So it's kind of some of that stuff of like, there's, we talk about tech debt, but I think there's also like mental debt that's holding interest, and we're not like really paying attention to it because it hasn't like caused a lot of issues, but it can just like drag on you. so yeah, we're trying to just, I took the dog for a walk the other day, and just timed how long does it take for a long walk. Oh, it takes 30 minutes. How long does it take for the shorter walk? Oh, it takes 15 minutes. Like, you know, so um, trying to set that time to know how long some things are going to take, as well as like, well, if I take the alternate route on the walk, well, how much time does that actually save if there's a day that I'm, kind of running on fumes, or I don't have as much time to, go on one of the longer walks. How long is it going to take me? So it's helpful in that way to kind of schedule some things around. Because at work, it's like, yeah, I mean, I can set aside this amount of time, but I don't necessarily know. Typically, I go until I find a good place to stop, and we'll take notes and we'll come back to it. Hopefully, from a different mindset and a good understanding of where I left off. But yeah, some of these other things, like just trying to see um, how much better it would be to, um, try to schedule some of those around and not start out too big, but throughout the week we have podcast recording typically on Wednesdays, but sometimes that doesn't always work. I had a subbed in a golf league last week, or I have D&D on Thursdays, and that's a little bit tougher because then I stay up later the day before I work from home and have therapy at noon. So I'll have to tackle that eventually. But yeah, it's kind of been good conversation, like a good path forward for me, I think. And it's kind of the beauty and also kind of the issue with trying to find things that work for you, is because we're all individualized and trying to, like, well, I'm here, what's the next step? And then once I get to the next step, okay, when do I feel comfortable moving on to the next step after that?
Right.
And just trying not to get complacent or stagnant, or, it's really around like that experimentation, but it can take a lot of time to figure out, exactly what works. On top of that, I've been it started out as a joke. I said that I was going to live with my mom and just buy a lake house as my first house. But I did take Thursday off of this week, and I do have a tour scheduled for a place up north. So I'm going
Oh,
to look at
nice.
and see if there's so many other tours that I can schedule, and yeah, we'll go from there. But yeah, that would be pretty large investment. But I'm at a good place financially. So it would be tough, but I think it would be doable and worth it.
Yeah. Well, congrats on taking that step forward. I mean, that's pretty big leap. Um, and good on you for taking the initiative and planning for some of your um, you know take your time debt away. That's not the best way to put that, but attacking what you to perceive to be maybe one of your issues, and working on planning on it. Um, that's awesome. And yeah, I mean, also just like practice. uh, like we always say, it's going to be a challenge because you got to kind of rewire your brain to do some of these things. And I think the best path forward is always to make a plan. And it sounds like you've done some of that at least, and using the data of what you already know and kind of are working on to improve yourself. I mean, it's no different from really anything else. I mean, a controversial figure, Jordan Peterson. I do occasionally listen to him. I don't always follow everything that he says, but um, he says when facing trauma, um, you know, the first step should always be to write it out. Like, what is the painful memory that you're keep kind of recircling, and then face your triggers kind of gradually. Make sure that you're aware of it, but don't let the fear dictate your life. And I think kind of some of these steps kind of go hand in hand with what you're saying. Um, obviously it might not be traumatic to plan out or to be aware of um, time management, right? Like, I mean, I get on my wife a lot because I think when she's she has a baking business, and I think when she's doing this, she doesn't always necessarily want to do them, but she also knows that it's money coming in. I think sometimes she'll watch like Friends or I may have talked about this before. I think I get deja vu from this again, but whatever her favorite shows, and I think she just kind of gets invested in that and takes her time, and so she'll look up in the at the clock, and it's 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Like recently, she just got home at 5 a.m. Because she had a large baking order and just didn't know. I think she just underestimated some things. But she had to get up at 6:30 in the morning to go to work the next day. So that was a big. Uh, and she's in therapy for that too, time management amongst other things. So, she's kind of on the same path of trying to figure things out in terms of what works best for her. I told her, and I told myself this, that we gotta also practice self forgiveness, because even though we're trying to be better, it's going to be a lot of failure along the way. So I think that uh, forgiveness is one of the early steps of selecting the correct path forward, best path forward. There's each step you make, you maybe get back 2 steps, but um, with time management, I mean, I can't really speak. There are projects where I tell my boss, I'm like, yeah, I'll get this done in a week, and it's like a month, and she's like, what's going on with this project? I just want to touch base with them. Like, well, it's I don't work with APIs all that often, and this isn't a boot camp where the flow can be turned off. This is real life, so I'm kind of just been taking my time and procrastinating about it. And she goes, okay, well, can you think you can get that done in the next like couple of days? I go, yeah, sure. And then I eventually figured it out. But uh, to avoid that, obviously, I've been kind of more taking like a waterfall approach to my project building. Which, if you've done any type of project management, there's generally 2 types of project management. There's the waterfall, and then there is agile. So that's kind of typically in sprints, where you could do a couple of development in a certain amount of time. Anyway, kind of getting off the topic, but I'm trying to take more of a waterfall approach, where one thing kind of just fix everything all together, but I do a lot more planning. So I spend probably 2 to 3 times more time planning than I do the actual task. So, um, long story short, have a plan to go forward. Writing things down for me, like actually writing them down, and it's been proven by science that writing something down helps you understand the task, and it helps with clarity, and it helps with um, fuck if I got the word. Anyway, it's better for you to write things down for muscle memory, and decoding it from your brain later, especially when you have chicken scratch handwriting like I do, and sometimes can't decipher my own notes. But um, so even I'm with you there. I'm also working on project management, time management all the time. So um, I've gotten better, especially at work. And now that I'm kind of overseeing 2 major projects, like I have to be uh, managing 2 different companies and 2 different developers. So it's a lot to kind of juggle. And sometimes I feel just like, exhausted at the end of the day of just trying to balance everything, when it's probably just me, and I need to be better about how I handle these things. So, you know, uh, I guess what all of this just to kind of say, we should all kind of try and be like David and use some of these analytics from even if it's sparked from a conversation with a therapist or spouse or anybody, even if it's an internal dialogue, you know, always trying to complete things in a timely manner, but like, that's time on task, right? Like that's not just going to come naturally. That's going to have to just come with time and practice self forgiveness. I mean, I can't stress that part enough.
Yeah. Um, yeah, because you got to make it fun, right? You got to like take something from it that you enjoy doing. And it comes to the question of like, would you rather take a trip? Would you rather plan a trip? Not, that's not the end all be all, but it's what it reminds me of.
Right.
What type of person are you? And if you're more around like the planning perspective, then yeah, you should have like fun planning out your day, and just kind of following along to that schedule. And of course, there's going to be times where you don't know how long something's going to take you.
Yep.
Maybe a good response would be, well, let me go figure that out and see, how much of it do I not know. Um, and even if you come back with somewhat of an idea, like it could be vastly different. Um, Trying to find in the middle, like if you get 50% of the time you're finished quicker and 50% of the time you finish later, then yeah, maybe that's as good as we can get. As far as if you're a few days in between. But yeah, I mean, the dishwasher I didn't think was going to be a whole week, and still
Yeah.
not finished. But I still have some projects and some things around the house that I'd like to fix, and I just haven't gotten around the time to actually fixing them completely. So yeah, the time on task and the planning perspective. If spending 12 grand on a boot camp not to get a tech job taught me anything, it was that you can't start in the middle, because it's anytime you want to fix something, you just have to start over. And there were a lot of times like I got that, like the tuition I was paying was really, those specific projects, and I would have to, start from scratch all over again
Yep.
because the code that I wrote was too fragmented and didn't work together. Or I try to put something in the front end that can only be used in the back end because I got stubborn. Um, but that's the whole point of, starting out. Like if you like New Year's resolutions, I think a lot of times like you just try to jump in and try to start in the middle. And you might have had the motivation then because it's around that time, but trying to find things that like just doing the work and the management of your time and the management of your tasks rather than waiting around for motivation to strike you. And you might have like I run into a lot of times too where I have some pie in the sky ideas and I want to go get like a proof of concept together, but I'm not really afforded that time. um, and even on Friday, I didn't have I wasn't low energy, but it was just like I had so much that I needed to get done. And I had just put something down that I had finished. It was actually a good project, and it's going to help save some time. I was able to like automate a report generation. Next steps for that would be like, well, what actually needs to be reviewed, um, to try to save the rest of the team time and not having to review things. Um, But anyways, like Friday, like I finished that up, and the rest of the time I just took like typing out some of the tasks that I had been given, and setting up like my own deadlines for myself and how long do I think it'll take, and somewhat of like a paragraph, a description of like what I'm trying to accomplish, um, and yeah, just trying to document some of that. Um, and try to get into a good flow of like, well, what what is this stuff that's going to suck? Some stuff that I'm not going to like doing, and trying to fold that in with some things that I'm going to enjoy doing. So trying to ebb and flow it myself, given that I have a lot of things in front of me, and kind of trying to figure out what the best way forward would be. In a way that's going to make it so that I can it's not going to take me as much time. Um, but knowing like, okay, well, if I get sick of this, then the idea is that I get to a good stopping point. I take some notes as to where I'm at so I can come back to it, and then I'll spend time on this other thing. And then, like, those are the two things that are going to be my focus, and try to keep it that way until, both of those things are done and I can move on to something else. And hopefully, the thing that I don't want to do as much will be the first thing I finish. So then the second one just kind of comes quicker. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff that we deal with is abstract. And even speaking to my therapist, it's like, you know, people being a kid is like you wanted to grow up, you wanted to have this freedom, you didn't want anyone to tell you what to do. And now I'm like, just tell me what to do.
Right.
uh, and it's kind of stinks in that regard. But I realize if I can change my mindset into um, some of these tasks in, in and outside of work, and what I'm trying to accomplish that day, then it'll it'll help with that. I can always feel like I can, at the end of the day, hang my hat on something. Um, and even I feel like some days I do accomplish a lot. I don't really, kind of take the time to have the gratitude or take the time for the forgiveness or those things. So also not to just let some of your accomplishments wash over you. The big thing about journaling, I think, is remaining present, and it makes you feel good about some of the things that you accomplished when you're in the right mind state. And if you don't do it, like I haven't done it, I feel like most people would get a great benefit out of just doing that. Because you focus on what you got done that day and not what you didn't get done. But at the end, you can talk about what you want to accomplish tomorrow or the rest of the week or this month or anything. So, yeah, just trying to be more present, trying to be more data driven, to kind of take that data and do something with it. I think I seen someone vibe coded an app that checked his heart rate on his smartwatch for like meetings that he had every week and like which meetings like caused him the most stress. Uh, so yeah, stuff like that. It's kind of like we're getting back to science and why I studied psychology of just you're just testing, you're experimenting, and to me that's kind of the fun outside of the stuff that might not be so fun, but it's necessary. I don't want to be someone who's only picking up around the house when people are coming over. I'd like to have, that set in a time to do that,
Yeah.
uh, a couple times a week or anything. So yeah, that's the change in mindset of like, I need to get out of like, oh, I, kind of justify or like, oh, I don't need to do this, like whatever, it's stupid. But no, just doing it. Um, like how, what did Goggins always say? Like first thing to do every morning is like get up and make your bed. It's like a good, it's like a good habit to have, and it kind of sets you up for the day to know like you're not coming back to bed until later, and then once you do, you feel good about it. You start the morning with like finishing a task, it makes you feel good, and then when you come back to it at night, you're like, oh, this is real nice, and you get to kind of have that mental feeling of like, well, I'm, you know, uh, undoing the covers and I'm getting into time to rest. So it's like a good switch off to relaxation, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I grew up with my parents kind of knew, um, I guess their assignments. Like whoever got home first would start dinner because it was me, my brother, and my sister. I mean, they're both 8 and 9 years older than I am. So I was, obviously younger, but, uh, start dinner. Whoever made dinner, it was a rule known as whoever made dinner also had to do dishes, which was always kind of strange. It's usually the kids, but I grew up in with a lot of sports. It's kind of all I was doing when I was for the most part, when I was younger, my parents never really gave me chores to do except for like mow the lawn when it was the summertime. Because it's because it's like I go to school for 8 hours a day, and then it was practice for sports, and it's like if I did chores, I didn't really have time to be a kid. Like that's kind of their philosophy. So they kind of just knew their assignment, I guess. And my dad would always on the weekends would always make breakfast, and they'd always my mom would always do laundry, fold, and my dad would clean up the bathroom, the kitchen, mop up everything. So they kind of knew that, and I think my wife, I kind of was like the opposite. It's like whoever was doing what just kind of clean up, and like um everyone kind of knew had their own assignment, and they were kind of expected to do that. So I think in our married life we've kind of had like that kind of difficulty of figuring out what works best. And then it was like for me, I need to be on a schedule. Like, I mean, I meal prep, and that takes me 3 to 4 hours for my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and some snacks. um so that leaves me x amount of hours to do whatever. So obviously I have to work 40 hours. I'm not going to do a full breakdown, but just to kind of paint a picture, so if I'm working 40 hours and travel time, so I'm up to 50 hours, right? And I got to pick up my son, that only leaves not a lot, a whole heck of a lot of time to kind of just like clean up a house. So I think I just need to take the initiative of, besides doing dishes and laundry, right? Like our house is still kind of a mess, and we're slowly getting there. And we have this deadline. We had a deadline of Memorial Day, but it is what it is at this point. We're moving past it. We're doing a garage sale at the end of um, June here, getting rid of all the clutter that we have. And but moreover than that, I'm trying to get on a schedule where I just like will mop the floor in the bathroom and the kitchen and the stairs in the basement. Scrubbing the bathtub, the sink, and the toilet. Like, so those are kind of obviously all of our main appendages we all use, and those need to be cleaned at all times. So, um, my hope is that whatever is my wife feels like her responsibilities need to be, that we kind of just get on this thing of a weekly schedule. But that's going to take time. More than I want it to, and it stresses me out, but I can't control what she does, and she's on her feet far more than I am. I spend a lot of mental energy just as she does, but she also exerts a lot of physical energy because she owns restaurants. So she has to take customer orders. She's doing what they call in the restaurant industry as expediting, meaning she gets like all of the pot or all the drinks, all of the dishes. She makes sure the tickets get over to the line cooks, and so she's busy. And then on top of that, we have a kid who just wrapped up school for summer this past week. And as of right now, we couldn't afford some of the summer camps that we wanted him to go, but her parents paid for it. So, I think we're figuring things out as a couple, not to, wing it. We're kind of coming together finally, 7 years later, of a full on plan, like a daily, weekly plan. So, and again, kind of just with like the time management, um, to tie that in, it's like we have to be okay if we don't get everything we were supposed to get done. Some things take priority to others. Obviously, our kid and our own mental well being are going to come first, but like you said, first thing that we get up is make the bed. Well, it's like sometimes she or I go to bed late, and it's just like I got to get up at 6:15 at the latest because my son's getting up at about the same time, and he's still too young to kind of just be on his own, even if it's just inside the house. So we were kind of just like trying to evolve as a couple and as a family, and like clockwork. Sometimes it feels like we're just in a hurricane. We're circling around a bunch, but um, it come together right now over me, I guess, like the Beatles say. Um, Now we're doing it, and I feel good. So
Nice.
yeah, stresses me out sometimes to talk about all that, but I feel like I gotta get it out somewhere, and um, you know, I'm still trying to find in every a therapist who's going to show up to all of our sessions, but it's a story for a different time. So, but yeah, people out there, especially married, even if you're single, like time management is just so important. I mean, trying to put as much time for yourself back into your week is so important. Like you need time to yourself. You need to practice self care. Um, Even if that's not your goal, even if it's just like to accomplish things in a timely manner, like spin it however you want to. Like I think it just like the motivation varies from person to person. For me, it's just so I can play video games in my spare time. Spend time with my kid. Maybe I should have ordered that in a different way, but it's just like it's just like sometimes even with my kid feels like a responsibility. And again, I probably sounds like a terrible and cold thing to say, but it's like at the end of the day, when it's 8 or 9 o'clock and he's finally to bed, it's like that's your time. And, you don't always want to be productive. So it's like, how do you be productive with all that going on? Um, just more things to figure out.
Yeah, and you break things down into smaller pieces and individual tasks, and communicate, whether it's with your partner or with yourself. Like you, one of the big things of like I have all these things in my head, and I feel like it's good exercise just to try to remember them. But in doing that, what is that taking away from? Is it giving me some anxiety? Is it giving me some sort of mental load and mental debt that I'm taking on for no good reason? It's hard sometimes to really understand and realize that. Um, so yeah, communication, writing things down, time management, a lot of this, like just trying to get that time back. So when you do have the free time, and scheduling out the free time too, or like fun things to do. And you feel a lot better getting around to the fun things when you can look back and think about, what you've accomplished that week or that day. And you assign your own value, you assign your own importance and priority. I think that's a good thing to communicate, not only with yourself, but for anyone listening, with your partner or whoever it is in your life, to go over some of these things. And yeah, I think most people would feel better in doing it. I know I certainly do. So
Yeah. I mean, it definitely puts me in a better mental state having, a clean kitchen, for example. Obviously with shit all over it, but sometimes you're gonna have to be okay with a half clean kitchen, half a mess, right? Like, um, I have a pretty rabid 5-year-old who's energy and he's learning, he's growing every day, and um, sometimes I don't always have the energy to finish that other half of the kitchen, and I have to be okay with that. I have to, practice self forgiveness, and but tomorrow's a new day, and you know, if I really feel that stressed out, I have a lot of PTO remaining, so I can take a day off and just clean.
yeah, I mean that's what I did, taking a day off to um, go look at some fun stuff uh, and try to figure out what the next step is for me. So yeah, focus on the next step and what you have control over right now, and yeah, I think eventually, like the more we do this exercise, the easier it will be to know, like, I'm doing this, 90% of the time that I want to do it. Maybe it is a good time to, take on more exercise or meal prep or some other things, you know. So yeah, just check in with yourself and be present, and yeah, come up with your own data, your own analytics, some way for you to be able to track some of these things, regardless of what it is, like what you want to have, what you want to work on, figure out a way to track that.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Figure out what it is that is in your way, whether it's mentally, physically, um, and kind of, as you always say, take a step back, analyze it. I mean, as obviously as David's saying, use the data that you know, whether it's just your anecdotal evidence, or if you're tracking in like a spreadsheet, or journaling, and reflect on it, analyze it. You don't have to be, you don't have to have a degree in business or anything to, or go to a coding boot camp to understand these things. It's just comes with time to understand yourself, your surroundings, your partner, and everyday interactions. But at the end of the day, you're the pilot in your own spaceship, navigating through the cosmos of life. And I think while it's on you to make those changes, always be aware of your support system and lean on it too, because sometimes you get perspective or um, helpful tips from places you don't expect. So
All right. I think that's pretty much it for me. Brian, I don't know if you had any other closing remarks.
no, that's just about it for me too.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Brian, thanks for sharing with what you got going on.
Yep.
And yeah, we'll check in back next week and see how, how we're both doing.
Yeah. Let's touch back on this subject and all other things, and just see how much progress we made. We recognize that we have a ways to go, but we gotta just kind of have perspective on how far we've come.
There you go. Yeah. Kind of terrifying, but beautiful in the same way.
Exactly.
So, all right. Thank you. And thanks everyone. Bye bye.
Yep. Bye, everybody.